Maybe actually, why don't I start, Yashi, with your query on the, I think, on the state comment or the visit. Let me answer both. Look, I think our position on the status of the entire union territory of Jammu and Kashmir, that being an integral part of India, is well known. We would urge the international community to respect our sovereignty and territorial integrity. We have raised our concerns about that visit by the Pakistani ambassador, the US ambassador to Pakistan with the US side. And as regards your comment also, I think Ambassador Garcetti's comment, we don't think the two situations are equivalent. As regards the issue of Afghan embassy, Ayushi, look, on that one, our understanding is that the embassy in New Delhi is functioning or continuing to function. We are in touch with the Afghan diplomats who are there in that embassy, as well as with the Afghan diplomats who are at the consulates in Mumbai and Hyderabad. However, we received a communication last week purportedly from the embassy indicating that it intends to suspend operations at the end of September, I think it was. So, of course, such a decision is an internal matter of a foreign mission. However, we have noted that the Afghan consulates general in Mumbai and in Hyderabad voiced their objection to that decision or to such a decision. We are also aware of that there has been a prolonged absence of the ambassador, and that a large number of Afghan diplomats have left India in recent past. You asked about what would be the difficulties with the students. We would hope that the substantial number of Afghan nationals in India, including students, are able to continue to receive necessary consular support. On our part, we will continue with our efforts to assist the people of Afghanistan, and I think that takes care of both your concerns that you mentioned. Siddhant, before I come to Canada, Siddhant, on the issue of Maldives, look, you would have seen the media developments in there. Prime Minister was the first leader to convey greetings and felicitations to the President-elect. Prime Minister conveyed and reaffirmed India's commitment to strengthen the time-tested India-Maldives bilateral relationship and enhancing overall cooperation in the Indian Ocean region. Subsequently, yesterday, I think, our High Commissioner in Malé also called on the President-elect. He had a good discussion on various aspects of our bilateral partnership, including development cooperation. Let me take the opportunity to congratulate the Maldivian people for once again demonstrating their faith in democratic governance and constitutional processes that reflect their firm commitment to the values of democracy and the rule of law. On the issue of, John, your question, as well as I think Vinita's question on talks, basically on Canada. Look, you'd recall last week we had quite a lengthy conversation on Canada. Insofar as discussions on parity, as we mentioned earlier, given the much higher diplomatic presence of Canadian diplomats or diplomatic presence here in Canada and their continuing interference in our internal affairs, we have sought parity in our respective diplomatic presence. Discussions are ongoing on the modalities of achieving this. Specific question by you, John, regarding dates, etc. Look, I would not like to get into the details of diplomatic conversations. As we mentioned, I think last week, given that Canadian diplomatic presence is very much higher, we would assume that there would be a reduction. I think that broadly covers those issues. Okay, Shashank, your query, where is Shashank? Oh, there you go. Shashank, your query on Maldives, you specifically, I think, talk about cooperation security sector. Look, all I would say is, I don't want to comment on, I think you talked about media reports, to be honest. The focus of our partnership with Maldives has always been on capacity building and working together to address our shared challenges and priorities, including security challenges and priorities. As neighbors, we need to collaborate closely to address these challenges confronting our region, such as transnational crimes as well as HADR, humanitarian assistance, disaster relief situations. We look forward to engaging with the new administration in Maldives on all these issues. On the issue of Geeta on Khalistan that you mentioned, as well as in security, Look, I wasn't sure in what context the US, you referred to a statement, I understand, from the US, was the State Department you said or something? But look, let me just say, we have been taking up concerns about the security of our diplomats and our premises and other elements related to people there who are wanted by our security or our judicial systems. And we will continue to do that, and that's an ongoing conversation. I don't want to get into individual persons, but in the UK there was a protest on 2nd October, and we certainly have taken up our concerns on the security of diplomats and premises there with the UK authorities, and this has been ongoing thing. The issue is about security, about ensuring that our diplomats are able to function normally and our premises are safe and that the community is not targeted. I think that's a broad element. I don't want to get into individual cases. There were, Pia, your question was related to the consul generals or something, a replacement ambassador. It's a very, very hypothetical and speculative question, I must say. Let me answer what I can, which is that, yes, of course, as I mentioned, we are in touch with the Afghan diplomats, as I mentioned, not only just in Delhi, but also in their consulates in Mumbai and in Hyderabad. In terms of, they are discussing what would be the future action, what would they like to do in terms of their message that they gave. We are no one to, they are foreign diplomats. We are not going to be discussing what they will do, who will replace whom. I think that's not within the remit of the government of India. So if I got your question right, you said replacement ambassador, and they're discussing. Yes, we are discussing. We are in touch. We said that what is their plans, and I mentioned that I think in my opening remarks, that what would be their future course of action. But beyond that, I don't have anything particular to share. मधुरेंद्र जी, आपका प्रश्न था about US रिपोर्ट की चाइना कुछ कर रहा है इस तरह से. देखिए, ऐसे कमेंट्स में मैं ऐसे रिपोर्ट्स में कह नहीं सकता. अगर कोई भी कोई हमारे देश के कोई कानून का उल्लंघन हो रहा है या उस तरह के कुछ हो रहा है, तो हमारे एजेंसीज एक्शन लेंगी उन पे. और इसके अलावा स्पेकुलेटिव रिपोर्ट्स में कमेंट नहीं करना चाहूँगा. Kalul, on your query, again, I don't know why in specific context that one individual or otherwise, if our agencies find that there have been violations of our law by an entity or an individual and it requires assistance or reaching out to foreign governments, we do that. And we would do that if our agencies asked us, as and when they do. I don't have anything specific to share on one individual or a particular case. Let me start with the ones on Canada. Look, so as I said, I think there are conversations that are ongoing, and I don't want to get into details of diplomatic conversations as and when we have something to share on that. But as I mentioned, we have sought parity and have outlined the reasons why. I think so that I would, on the report that you mentioned, since I'm doing some political report I also saw, but I saw also a statement by the US spokesperson here of the embassy saying that he dismisses those reports. In any case, I will not want to comment on them. There is an internal report of somebody saying something on the US side, but the US, I think, State Department or the embassy here has just dismissed those reports, I think, a few minutes ago. So I don't need to comment on them, hopefully. Similarly, I think this question relating to Suhasini related to Canada, and also MEA, I just, on the Canada, I'll come to that. Maldivians, you can please take it. I have already answered the question on cooperation. On Suhasini, on the defense part, look, on the issue you mentioned specifically on visas, right? Now, yes, we had, I think, initially talked about expedited visas for those who are required. But let me also clarify in the context of the parity, it's up to the Canadian side who they choose to staff their High Commission with. So I would refer you to details of, for them, for any details in this regard. Our concerns are related to ensuring parity in diplomatic presence. And again, as I said, why? And I think, that's been a focus very clearly. On the issue of Prime Minister of Canada, MEA, you had mentioned about visa processing, they should stay. Again, as I said, we are looking at parity. We are looking at the fact that there have been interference and there has been a much higher number of Canadian diplomats here, and hence the discussions on achieving parity are ongoing. And rest of it, I can't comment on it yet. Obviously, if the parity is achieved, given that Canada has a much larger number of people there, would likely be a reduction in the numbers. As I said, our focus is on ensuring parity. It is possible, as I said, the Canadian side may choose who they staff their High Commission with. I wanted to mention also about, I think Afghanistan came up, right? Afghanistan on Nirmala, your question was about what should they... Look, on the consular services, it's for the Afghan embassy, the consulates to provide. Okay. In terms of assistance, we have whoever are here, the visas have been regularized, they've been staying here if they are unable to return or some other reason. So Afghan nationals are here. They're here for various reasons. Some are the students, some have been done ITech courses. Those who are unable to return, their visas are being regularized on an ongoing basis. We've also announced now, I think ICCR a few weeks ago, just 1,000 courses and online courses for students from Afghanistan. Our assistance programs for the people of Afghanistan have continued. We have a technical team precisely for that reason in Kabul, so that we are able to continue that assistance. Suhasini, your larger issue of the comments, look, I don't want to get into a statement which they have made, which I said there are discussions and others have disagreed. But let me just make a general comment, is that I don't think facts bear out what the, I won't say allegations, but those statements are in what you have referred to. I don't think they're factually correct, and I don't think that's accurate, many of them. But again, I don't want to get into a discussion on that. We are in touch with diplomats here, as I said, in the embassy here and in the consulates. I don't wish to get into an issue which is more specifically on a letter. कदमनी, आपका प्रश्न था गुरुद्वारा के बारे में जी, उसमें जो इंसिडेंट हुआ था ग्लासगो में, उसी के बारे में आप जिक्र कर रहे थे, जिसमें हमारे उच्चायोग ने एक पूरी उसमें बयान और स्टेटमेंट दे रखी है. आज हमने देखा कुछ रिपोर्ट हैं, पर वो अभी हाल ही की बात है कि और कोई क्रिमिनल एक्टिविटी नहीं है. देखिए, वो इंडिविजुअल केस टेकअप करेंगे या नहीं, मैं अभी कहना नहीं चाहता हूँ. हम भी देखेंगे एग्जैक्टली उन्होंने क्या देखा था उस इंडिविजुअल के बारे में. बट जैसा कि उन्होंने, हमारे उच्चायोग ने कहा है कि हमारे हाई कमीशन को रोका गया या थ्रेटन किया गया, ये हम एक्सेप्ट नहीं कर सकते. इसीलिए इसको हमने यूके हाई अथॉरिटीज़ के साथ रेज़ किया था, और हम करते रहेंगे ताकि हमारे डिप्लोमेट्स वहाँ पे नॉर्मल तरीके से अपनी जो कार्य है वो कर सकें और उनके पास कोई बाधा ना हो, ना कोई ऐसे सिक्योरिटी थ्रेट उनके ऊपर आए. लेट मी टेक अ लास्ट राउंड. ओके, लेट मी ट्राई टू आंसर सम ऑफ देम. कनाडा, विशाल, आपने उनसे पूछना पड़ेगा उन्होंने कैसे किया. मैं स्पेकुलेट ऐसा नहीं कर रहा हूँ उन्हें क्या कहा. हमारा जो रुख है, हमने दो चीज़ों पे काफ़ी जोर दिया है कि वहाँ एक तो ऐसा सिक्योरिटी का सिचुएशन रहे कि हमारे डिप्लोमेट्स नॉर्मल तरीके से काम कर पाएँ, और यहाँ पे हम पैरिटी देख रहे हैं हमारे एम्बसीज़ के बीच में जितने मैन पावर यहाँ पे डिप्लोमेट्स हैं. मैं बाकी चीज़ पे कुछ कमेंट करने के पोजीशन पे नहीं हूँ. संध्या, योर क्वेरी वाज ऑन हैज़ एनीथिंग बीन shared in the recent one. Look, I would refer you to what External Affairs Minister has been saying. He said this in a couple of places during his recent visit. He said, if anything specific or relevant information is shared, we are open to looking at it. And let me reiterate that. I think that's exactly how we would like to respond to that query. I think he said that, and I think that's best. I think that would be the best response to that. On the issue, Abhishek, since you raised it in the context of this, again, I think you saw External Affairs Minister give a press conference. He also spoke about it on various occasions. His conversations, he talked about that it was discussed, and he gave a sense of the conversation. I don't think I want to add to anything he's already said in the US on that, so I think I'll leave that. There was a query about POK, Rishabh, I think your query was there. No, sorry, your question was on POK. Look, as I said, I think I can just repeat what I've been saying about visitors. We would request international community to respect our sovereignty and territorial integrity. You know our position on the areas of Pakistan-occupied Kashmir and how we look at the entire territory, Union territory, as integral part of India. And so that would be my comment on it. I don't have anything particular. As you said, the video has just come out. I don't know if our mission has taken it up, but we normally convey our concerns on such things on a regular basis, if whenever we see such development. Regarding Afghanistan, there are a couple of questions. Look, Urvashi, I don't know who asked about the no longer the ambassador. No, that was Manish. I don't know what is the basis of that. I'm just telling you the developments. We've seen the note. We are talking to diplomats who are here. Whoever is here is a diplomat at the Afghan embassy here. I don't see anything that leads me to that. You mentioned Afghan embassy envoy, some complaints, Urvashi. I am sorry, I'm not going to get into issues on foreign diplomats here. Those are internal, and those are within as a part of the diplomatic practice. There on the issue of statement, I think we put out something about a conversation there. We participated in these talks. This is not the first time. We are guided by UN Security Council Resolution 2593, and we have always wanted inclusive government, and we have as well as respect for women rights and various other requirements. We are guided by our desire to have closer possible relations with the Afghan people and how we can assist them. I don't want to give anything specific more than that, because I think these were internal conversations, and but I think we have been participating, and I think there's a feeling that our contribution is important, and we are important players with this. On the issue, I missed out one. Neeraj, who mentioned that one? Neeraj Dubey ji, आपका प्रश्न था नेपाल पे. जी वो नेपाल के उस पे टेरिटरी में है. मैं बिल्कुल कुछ कहना नहीं चाहूँगा. आई एम श्योर नेपालीज अथॉरिटीज उसमें डील कर रहे हैं. On the issue of I think Nagorno-Karabakh, I think you asked this. Look, we are aware of the reports regarding the developments that you have referred to. We, of course, continue to monitor the situation. We also encourage the parties to move forward on ensuring long-term peace and security in the region through dialogue and diplomacy, which includes the safety and well-being of all civilians. Okay, I think that, unless I missed something else. Okay, thank you very much for joining this press conference. Good evening.